We'll have Mr. Poilievre.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Now, the members across the way keep talking about innuendo. So let's go back to the agreed upon facts and list them in chronological order. Fact: the Prime Minister slipped into an omnibus budget an amendment to the criminal code allowing large-scale corporate criminals to escape conviction and trial by signing a deal. Fact: that legislation was not introduced by the Justice Minister, even though it amended the criminal code, which is the purview of that minister. Fact: this committee had no role in studying that legislation. It went to the Finance Committee. Something that should concern you, Mr. Chair, and all members of this committee. Fact: after that legislation became law, the Director of Public Prosecutions decided not to offer a deal to SNC-Lavalin, which is charged with over $100 million of bribery and fraud. Fact: according to the lobbyist registry, the company changed its tune away from a legal approach to a political one, going to the PMO to seek political support to allow for a special side deal that would remove the possibility of conviction or trial for this $100 million worth of corruption. Fact: 14 meetings happened in the Prime Minister's office, including with PMO boss Gerald Butts. Fact: Mr. Butts in December and the Prime Minister at another occasion spoke about such a special deal with the Minister of Justice and Attorney General. And fact: not so long after that, the Prime Minister fired the Attorney General and moved her to another portfolio. Apparently, the conversations with her didn't go so well. Now, they say there's no political pressure. Do something, or you might lose your job. But hey, no pressure. Please, make your own decision. Now, since that time, the Prime Minister went out publicly and claimed that he had assurances from his former Attorney General that he had told her that the decision was entirely hers. After he made that public declaration, something caused her to resign, apparently no longer able to remain part of the Trudeau cabinet. So he attacked her. He directly attacked her, saying it was her job to stop wrongdoing from happening in his office. But what was most despicable and cowardly about this attack is that he was attacking someone who is legally incapable of defending herself. She believes she's subject to solicitor-client privilege. In other words, she can't fight back. She can't speak. Now, there's one person who could allow her to speak. Of course, that is the Prime Minister. You would think that a man who attacks someone in public would want to allow that person to respond. But so far, he has used his power of privilege to silence her. And the members across the way talk about bullying. Now, it's time that we let her speak. And isn't it interesting that this motion that the government puts forward does not include her name?
The government did not put forward the motion, Mr. Poilievre. The motion came forward from people who are Liberal members of this committee, and I have to correct you on that. I would have corrected you on multiple other points, but I'm trying to restrain myself.
Sure. You actually said we put it forward, so I presume that you're speaking with the rest of the we over there. But
not the government. There are Liberal MPs on the committee.
The reality is,
but you haven't been to the committee before.
The reality is, I appreciate you're getting very defensive, Mr. Chair. Yeah. But I appreciate you're getting very defensive, and I don't blame you. Because frankly, sir.
So long, very well, sir. Your interventions are at this point just a little much. I will restrain myself at this point.
I welcome that restraint. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chair, the reality is that this motion excludes the key actors. It prevents them from speaking. It does not include former Attorney General Jody Wilson-Raybould. It does not include Gerald Butts. It does not include Katie Telford. And the single meeting that it allows, or that it identifies, is in camera. And for those listeners who don't know what that means, it means in secret. No media, no transcripts, no public information, nothing. Total silence. And for what? The promise that we might be allowed to have a legal symposium about some theoretical principles that, while they might be important to the overall case, do not speak to the facts in this particular situation. And that is what we are here to discuss. We're not randomly picking one of the many thousands of legal principles that have been debated in law schools by scholars for many years. We are talking about a specific case. And for us to know the answer to that case, we need to have the key players. And so I'm calling on the government to amend its motion to include all of the witnesses that Conservatives have put forward in order that all the truth and all the facts become known by Canadians. And if the government has nothing to hide, then it will allow these witnesses to be added and for examination of their testimony to proceed without any further delay. Thank you very much.